Hey everybody! I was just gonna say it's Friday. It's 100% not Friday. Tuesday. And here I am for our Tuesday chat. And I was so pulled today to talk about mothers and daughters. And I just recorded a podcast on it. You can check out my podcast. It's called Holding the Fire of Motherhood. How is it gonna burn you or shape you is the idea. I'm doing it through anchor.fm, so you can find it on there. And today I just recorded a podcast before this talk on this very topic. And I started off by saying, this is a really messy podcast. I don't actually know what I'm going to say. I have no plan. I have nothing organized. I'm just going to talk because it feels current and important to me in this moment. So in a way, this is a selfish talk today. And that's all I'll say about it. Okay, mothers and daughters. The reason this came up for me today is because I had a really hard morning with my daughter. And I have a big tenderness about my relationship with my daughter. Part of it is that I, as a young girl and as a teenage and as a young adult, experienced a lot of disconnection from my parents. I grew up with a stepmother, and my biological mother was also in my life in a more complicated way. And I spent most of my childhood feeling completely disconnected from my stepmother and my father, who were the parents that I grew up with. The disconnection to me felt like not just a physical disconnection, but this heart disconnection, which even when I think about it now feels heavy and brings me like right back to the pain of what it felt like. So I know that I have a very big tenderness when it comes to my daughter. When we feel disconnected, when it feels like any drop of love between us has been removed, has been broken, has been severed. Hi, Shade. I have no defenses. I have no defenses. And so we had a really hard morning, and then I was watching a show last night, and there was an interaction between a mom and a daughter where their love was broken, and it just gets me in the gut. It just gets me in the gut, and I'm just so tender about it. I tried to find a metaphor for my daughter about what it was to still be connected. You know, we bring our wounds into parenting. Like, if you agree with me, let me know. Is it just me? I really hope not. We bring our stories, we bring our burdens, we bring our wounds, we bring our unsolved stuff into parenting, which just makes it a very messy place to be. Like, there's too many things going on, right? There's too many stories. So I wanted to find a way to almost soothe my daughter and also comfort me about what was immovable between us, what was impenetrable between us. And so I said to her, you know, between you and I, we have this precious stone. Maybe it's a diamond, or maybe it's this pink quartz. And it connects between us. And it is so strong and so mighty that nothing breaks it. Nothing shatters it. Nothing even cracks it. It is impenetrable. And all the other stuff on top of it, when we have little fights and we get really angry with each other, we say mean things, that's all surface stuff. That stuff never touches that sacred stone between us. And I really desire that to be true. And I don't know if it's true, to be honest, because I can see in the future that we will perhaps have times or moments or things that feel like they shatter that stone in pieces. And even thinking about that happening is like too much for my little tender heart. So here's what I've learned about mother-daughter. There is a parallel journey going on for me in parenting, in mothering a daughter, where sometimes I get confused as to what is me trying to remake my journey as a little girl, doing it right with her, and also what is her own journey. Yeah, having a strong, that's right, break-in habits from childhood, it's so big. How do I recognize who she is without putting my own stuff on her? What I mean by that is, isn't it so easy to look at your daughter and say, oh, she gets that from me. I remember I was like that in swimming class. I remember I hated Lego. And in many ways, that just makes total sense, because we are trying to find the ways that we can, that we know stuff, right? Oh, she always hated swimming. I hated swimming too. What would have helped me is, it comes from a strategic place. And also sometimes I know that I do not give her space then to be her own nuanced self, because I want to figure it out. I want to do it right. I want to help her in the way that I wasn't helped, which again is just messy. There's too many stories in there. There's too many people in this relationship. She is my biggest trigger. I have a son as well. I get angry with him. Not the same way. My daughter takes me to heights of rage and heats of rage and depths of shame and desolation and grief, grief like nobody's business. So that has been a big challenge for me. Figuring out what? Figuring out the wound that is there, because I got to fix that wound, but not wanting to stay there too long and not wanting it to be about me. In some ways, I'm really thinking how narcissistic I am as a parent to a daughter. You know, what am I making about me? What am I doing for me? How am I seeing her through my experience? What am I doing for her, which is really for me? I mean, it's just like, we don't have all day, but we could do this all day. So the triggers for me, she brings me to all the places where I am unhealed. She brings me to all the places where I have still deep wounds and tenderness. She brings me to all my old stories. And she takes me there. Like, she takes me to my ego. She takes me to my grief around feeling like I don't belong, feeling like I'm not loved. She takes me there with like rocket fuel. And then I get there, and then I have to figure out what to do once I'm there. And I have been to all kinds of depths of darkness. I would say in my soul journey over the last 10 years, I've spent many, many hours in deep darkness and in the heat of rage and in all of that intensity of those strong, darker emotions. It never gets easier to go there. To be honest with you, it never gets easier. All I know now is that there is something beyond, and there is something for me in there. So at some point I have to, like, for me to surrender to the gift of her when she makes me want to pull my hair out and jab my eyeballs and smash my head into the wall. For me to open in that moment and to receive the gift of this little creature that has come into my life to break down all my walls, to cut all of the chains that I live within, to challenge all of those stories, to break down all of my walls. If I can do that, it's powerful stuff. And sometimes I can do it. And it's like healing. It is healing. And sometimes I don't have the capacity to do it. So you know what? I'm actually just going to tie this into self-care. This is what I know about self-care. And I'm very, very good at self-care. Self-care, the act of self-care, also supports this soul journey, meaning if I want to have my marriage and I want to have my children break me open, get rid of my ego, fulfill my deepest desires to be loved and seen and belong exactly as I am, if I want my greatest love stories to come true, if I want my life to be my greatest adventure, then I need to go on this soul journey, which will require me to break apart and break open and go into the darkness and also reach for the light. And in order to do that, I need to be so conscious and so purposeful with my self-care. Otherwise, I have no capacity for it. Everybody knows this, right? So, you know, you're depleted and you're tired and you haven't been eating well and you haven't been doing the stuff that you need to do to feel good, and you have you have no capacity to grow. This is like, you cannot grow. You're like, I'm just surviving, which probably means that I need to shut this down right now with anger and punishment and consequences because I have no capacity. I haven't talked about this here, but I have this pyramid of self-care that I really like to think about. At the base is self-care that we do for survival. So this is like, what do you need just for survival? So sleep for me, huge. I can't move beyond it. Sleep is huge. And then in the middle is, we're going now into thriving. What are the things that you do that allow you to thrive? And this is things are humming. This is things feel good. You're not in survival anymore. And then at the tip of the triangle is the juiciest part. It's the part where your capacity is expanded. What do you do for yourself, with yourself, in yourself, to expand your capacity to open, your capacity to be brave, your capacity to go after your desires, your capacity to ask for what you want? That's the tip. And hi Alicia, hi Angel. That is the work for me. How do I maintain being at the tip of that triangle so I can let things break me open in the way that they're meant to break me open? So in closing, like, I have no closing. I don't have the solution. I don't have the words. All I can say from my experience is that in all ways, children bring us up against all of our shit. And it's up to us to choose to let them heal us or to let them destroy us. And I often choose both. I'm like, not all one and I'm not all the other. Daughters in particular, I do believe that there is a particular thing that happens with mothers and daughters. Like, we bring all of our own stuff to it, so it becomes even more tender, even more complicated, like even more bullshitty and messy. And within that also comes all the places where we're dying to be free. We're dying to be free. And they are the greatest guides for that. Those little buggers, right? Those little fuckers, they're the greatest guides for us. And then also we mess up sometimes. And also I mess up a lot. And also I shout when I should be calm. And I completely misunderstand when if I took a little bit more time, I could understand. And I mess up all over the place. And every day I'm making that decision. Like, where can I connect? Where can I soften? Where can I learn? What can I drop? And it's an ongoing journey. I'm holding lots of questions about mothers and daughters. I'm holding the question of how do I almost parent her from a completely clean slate and bring none of my shit into it? None of what I wish I had had when I was her age. None of my parents did this, therefore I'm going to do this for you. Like, it's very narcissistic, and I don't know how to break out of that, but I would like to think about it for a while, see if I can find a way. How do I ensure that her healing and my healing is symbiotic? Everything that I give to her, I receive. I give her freedom, I receive freedom. I give her understanding, I receive understanding. I let her be exactly how she is, so I can be exactly how I am. How do I do that? And how do I let her be separate and yet be connected with that crystal? And I don't know how to do it all. I'm learning every day, just like you, I'm learning. So this is what I got on mothers and daughters. Maybe I'll do mothers and sons. It's not as tender for me right now. We never know what's going to come up. Thank you for being here. Yep. Yeah, I get it. Kids do it. Kids do it. Uh-huh. Yeah, I like that. My son has taught me more than I hoped to learn. To be honest with you, just a bit much. Just a bit much. Love you guys. If you're watching the replay, put some comments. What do you think? What's been your experience? Mothers and daughters, mothers and sons. How do they trigger you? Do they blow you apart? How do they put you back together again? What are the questions that you're rumbling with right now? I want to know. I want to know what love is. Love you all. Thank you. Thank you.